So Hans-Ulrich will start by telling us a few things about Fischli and Weiss's The Way Things Go.
Craig, thank you so much. And it's sort of uncanny because it reminded me coming here exactly more than 10 years ago when Phaidon organized a launch in New York for Cream. And actually, late at night after the sort of conference, it was the trigger of a union, VOTI, the Union of the Imaginary. As I was wondering what's going to happen today, hopefully something as exciting. Now, I wanted to talk about The Way Things Go, which is really the reason why I became a curator, and somehow talk a little bit about this work, but would like to dedicate these words to the memory of David Weiss. With the passing of artist David Weiss, the world has lost one of the greatest artists of our time. Weiss's death marks the end of one of the enduring partnerships of contemporary art, prolific collaboration spanning more than 30 years with Peter Fischli, with whom they together formed since '79 the duo Fischli and Weiss. Frederick Jameson once famously observed that our postmodern era is marked by a waning of affect, a loss of sincerity and authenticity, and a wholesale replacement by irony. Yet Fischli Weiss demonstrated that irony and sincerity could not exist without each other, that indeed there is no sincerity like irony. I first learned about the work of Fischli Weiss on the occasion of their large exhibition at the Kunsthalle in Basel, 1985, and Ruheloses Universum, a kind of an intranquil universe. And I visited this exhibition like 28 times. And I met the artist the following year, while still a student, in 1986, on the eve of the production of The Way Things Go. This was the first of many visits that I made to their studio, and these encounters were really testimonying the process of this extraordinary film, which was constituted by kind of 6 films. It's like one film made out of 6 films, very much sort of reflecting this collaborative do-it-yourself ethos of the late 70s Zurich punk scene, which actually Beeche gathered all together in an incredibly legendary exhibition called Saus und Braus, Revel and Riot, which she mounted at the Städtische Galerie zum Strauhof, where also for the first time Fischli Weiss showed her work actually of the Sausage series. And obviously the Sausage series and also the Equilibrium very much preceded The Way Things Go. Also, their earlier films, of course, preceded that film. The collaboration of Peter Fischli and David Weiss began actually with the Sausage series, but then went into incredible depth when they did these films in LA, Der geringste Widerstand, when actually Peter Fischli visited David Weiss in LA. It was then really in '86, '87 with The Way Things Go that their work, it was shown then in Documenta, reached an incredible sort of visibility. And it's this film which is a series of everyday objects and machine parts which roll, which topple, which burn, which spill, otherwise propel themselves forwards to create an extended chain reaction of miraculous cause and effect, allegorizing contingency and entropy just as much as they convey Fischli Weiss's mischievous humor and amazing and creative experimentalism. These chemical and physical sequences create the illusion that the objects have mysteriously achieved independence from human control. The Way Things Go imparts a strong sense of the artist's pleasure in the process of art's production, in the taking apart and putting together of things. It relishes the precision of poise as much as the release of collapse, the breakdown of the precarious balancing acts that you all know from their Equilibrium photography from the mid-'80s. A few more things. One thing is that the collapse and disintegration of a construction produces the energy that sets the next group of things in motion and thus maintains the system. The crucial thing is the properties of kinetic energy that cause the sequence to continue and ensure that the energy is transported from one part of the construction to the next. In several of the transitions, the material properties of rubber are very present, and that anticipates Fischli Weiss's amazing rubber sculpture, which followed just after The Way Things Go. Rubber in hoses, in balloons, in rings, and tires. The characteristics and capabilities of this material, which oscillates between hard and soft, inside and outside, and also between motion and standstill. The Way Things Go would seem to be determined by chemical and physical sequences. Consequently, an illusion is created in which it appears that a chain of action has mysteriously achieved independence, but somehow ideas of antithetical opposed pairs like large and small, important and unimportant, or even disorder and disorder begin to totter. And it's kind of interesting that these oppositions within these supposedly incompatible pairs are resolved because the one is always sought in the other. And in this context, really, we might quote Alighiero Boetti, because it was actually during this first studio visit I made with Fischli Weiss, when they were working on The Way Things Go. And it's always translated as the way things go. It's interesting, Arthur Danto once said that maybe we should translate it rather with the cause of things, which could be another translation of the title Der Lauf der Dinge. And it was during this studio visit that officially Weiss actually urged me to go to see their hero, Alighiero Boetti, in Rome, which I did the week after. And so I would like to conclude here with a quote from Alighiero Boetti, which very much has to do with the way things go. Tutto si muove attraverso delle onde, e le onde sono fatte di alti e bassi, sono fatte di intervalli, di pause e di silenzi. Everything moves by means of waves, and the waves are made of high and low points, made of intervals, of pauses and of silences. Thank you.
Thanks, Hans-Ulrich.